The last tournament I played in was a disaster. I scored 2 out of 5 points. I lost to several players who were rated lower than me, and I lost 24 rating points, completely wiping out the progress that I had made in the 2 previous tournaments. Well, today I'm starting a new tournament, the Texas State Open, and the question is, can I turn the ship around and get some of these points back, get back on track, or am I going to continue my downward spiral? Let's find out. This is round 1. I'm playing with the black pieces against Surya Vimuri, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He plays d4, and I play knight f6. I'm going into what's called the King's Indian defense, where you fianchetto the bishop like this, and you actually let white get a very big center, and then you counterattack later. I played d6. It's important to get some control over the e5 square if they try to push forward. Now you could trade the pawns, and it would give you the option to trade queens, which is usually a good thing. My opponent played bishop to e2, and I played e5. Now, this is called the main line of the King's Indian defense. When they set up the 3 pawns, both knights, and they put the bishop on e2 and they castle. Okay? We play e5. And the first thing that I want to point out is this is not a free pawn, even though it looks like 2 attackers, only 1 defender. What am I doing, right? Well, the idea is takes. White can trade or not trade. Let's just say they trade and try to grab the pawn. Notice the bishop is lined up on the knight. I can actually take here, unleashing that. And even though they can take me back, I get my pawn back. And we have a very nice and pleasant position. We have the bishop doing a great job in the open board. The rook is nice. And it's about equal, but that's fine for me, right? So I do not lose a pawn. And because of that reason, most players do not take this. Okay? So my opponent castles. Now I play knight to c6, which is the main line. And we're going into what's called the Mar del Plata of the King's Indian. This is kind of a famous sort of mainline position where both players are going to be attacking on opposite sides of the board. So let me explain this. When my opponent plays d5, it forces my knight back. They have completely locked up the center. What that means is you can't really do much in the center. And I'm not going to just take these pawns and give away my pieces, and white's not going to do the same thing. So these pawns are basically stuck. The center of the board is closed, right? When that happens, that usually means there's going to be play on either side of the board. Maybe over here, maybe over, sorry if I can draw the arrows, maybe over here. That's not how I meant to do that. Anyway, you get the idea. You can attack on either side of the board, right? So there's another principle in chess that you should be aware of. You want to attack in the direction of your pawn chain. What does that mean? If you look at the center of the board, which direction is my pawn chain pointing? To the left. So I should, following that principle, attack on the king side. Which way is white's pawn chain? In the center, pointing this way. So white should attack on the queen side. So what happens in these Mar del Plata positions is black attacks the king over here, and white attacks the queen side over here. Now, some of you might be thinking, isn't that better for us because we get to attack the king? And it's not quite that simple, right? Because, of course, I'm going to have to weaken my king a little bit too, pushing the pawns forward. But also, white's attack is not something to just be, it's just a queenside attack, whatever. Sometimes they can create serious weaknesses and big threats. And if they undermine this section of the board, they could even get this way to attack your king. There's lots to it. So it's not that simple to just say, it's better to attack the king. No, it's really, the engine would actually say white is slightly better in these positions, but very complicated. So let's keep going with the game. So he plays knight to e1. I play knight to e8. What's the point? Well, I'm going to play f5, and white knows that. And they're going to respond with f3 and have the bishop have somewhere to go. So this is a very common maneuver. And I continued with my plan, f5. Remember, we got to attack on this section of the board. That's what I'm going to do. He plays f3, and I push forward, gaining space, chasing the bishop back. And I decided to just continue. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can attack the king. So g5. My opponent plays b4. The engine gives it a question, but this is the right idea. Somehow attack on the queen side by pushing these pawns and see if you can generate some play over there. I played knight g6, bringing my knight over. My opponent plays c5, continuing to attack. Here I play the move rook f7. And my idea is I want to defend the 7th rank because sometimes when this trade happens, there's a rook that wants to invade. I also might want to drop my bishop back to add a defender here. And you never know when this rook might want to swing over and put pressure on the king like this. So it's kind of a multi-purpose move. Rook c1, and I played bishop to f8. Like I said, this is kind of a weakness sometimes, so I'm basically dealing with some of the potential threats from white and at the same time opening up a square. Maybe my rook wants to go there in the future. He plays knight to d3, and I continue with the attack, h5. Now my opponent plays the move knight to b2, and I was trying to think, what are they doing? Looks like they're coming into c4 to put more pressure here, but I felt okay about this because I've got the bishop, I've got the knight, I've got the queen. So even if this trade happens, 3 pieces, it's going to take a while for white to really do anything on that pawn, right? So I felt pretty good about this. So rook to g7. I'm continuing to just slowly build up the pressure and get my pieces into position so that an attack on the king might potentially be successful, right? So they continued with the plan, knight to c4, and I continue with my plan, g4. Now, first thing you might notice, my pawn is only protected 2 times, and there are 1, 2, 3 attackers here. So this is kind of a pawn sacrifice if you want to think of it that way, but I didn't really feel like it was a sacrifice because if white did this, I was looking at the move queen g5, and the point is I'm adding an attacker, and if they take me, now I'm going to be able to move my knight probably to h4, creating a really nasty threat on g2. That's checkmate. And it's not that easy for white to deal with it. And actually, the engine says I'm already like winning. Now, there are some complicated lines, which I'm not going to get into all of the details, but I felt like now was the right time before I give white too much time to attack over here. So, g4. My opponent takes on d6. If you would like to pause, I played an interesting move here. All right, so the engine actually says I should just take this back. My position is very good. Just take it back. Everything is nice and solid. And I decided to be a little bit aggressive, and I played the move g3. And my idea is this. Of course, if they take me, I'm going to win, because now I can go queen h4. This is checkmate, and white doesn't have a good way to deal with this, because if you take, I'm just going to take back with the other pawn. Again, it's checkmate. You're going to have to sacrifice your bishop just to survive, but it's still a bad position. My knight's about to jump in. There's the rook and the queen. White's falling apart, right? These pawns can't really do anything. So that's my idea. Oh, and by the way, one more thing. If they try to play h3, of course, we're going to sack the bishop here, and basically same idea. We're coming in for checkmate, okay? So my opponent recognized that and played the best move. H takes g3. And I decided to continue with the plan of attacking, and I played queen g5. Now, engine says it was actually slightly better, again, to just take this pawn back. This just keeps my position nice and solid, and I guess Stockfish's idea is that the attack's not going anywhere. It's going to be their next move. So just take time to take this back. I didn't do that. And here my opponent made a mistake. So what am I trying to accomplish? Well, I'm attacking the pawn, right? Because I want to do that same idea of bringing the queen in checkmate. So white has to figure that out. And one move that I was not wanting to see was queen to d2. Because this is actually a very clever way of stopping me from taking this. Because now my queen is under attack. And even if I, let's just say defend my queen somehow, like move this knight so it's defended, this still is potentially going to allow a queen trade. And also, I don't have a great place to move the knight to. I don't want to go back to h8 with my knight. Where am I going to go, right? So it's a little bit, I guess, actually, this looks like a reasonable move. But I think, was there something? No, he can just ignore it. He can just ignore it and keep attacking. And I'm not really threatening anything because I don't really want to take this because... Oh, bishop e3. Actually, I don't know if I even calculated this. Bishop e3. Okay, so anyway, I knew it was going to get complicated, and I was going to analyze more after queen d2 happened. I think. I probably had an idea. I forget. But my opponent didn't play queen d2. They played captures. And as soon as they captured, I'm like, okay, now I know I'm definitely winning, because this move basically gives me everything that I could have hoped for in this position. This was the really critical mistake, I think, from white. Because now my knight gets to jump into an amazing square, and we create the checkmate there with 3 attackers. So white has very limited options on how you can stop this, right? They played g3. If you would like to pause, what move do you think I played here? All right, get a chance to look at that. It's queen to h4. So I'm taking advantage of the pin. My queen cannot be captured, right? And I'm basically wanting to go here and checkmate. That's a very hard threat to deal with. And there's also one other threat. Let's just say white plays a random move. I was going to just sacrifice the rook and get a checkmate like this. So it's even more forcing, right, than queen h3. So that's the big threat. Okay? So my opponent played the best move, knight to e3, which does stop the threat. If I now do it, takes, there is no checkmate. Now, my position is still pretty good, and I did think about this, but I also was like, I have to be a little careful because rook g1 is going to pin my queen. Now, white is getting a little bit of counterplay on my king. And yeah, you got to be careful. So I played bishop takes d6, which is an okay move. It's not a terrible move. And the idea is now I've slowed down or stopped white's attack. My bishop, which wasn't doing anything, is doing a great defensive job. And I'm attacking the pawn. Not that I really care that much about the pawn over there, but it is a threat. My opponent played queen c2. I think they were getting a little bit low on time at this moment. And here, Stockfish wants me to put the queen on h3 and just get ready with that attack. I had a different idea. I played bishop takes b4. Now, why do you think, this is a good moment for you guys to pause and think about this. Why do you think I captured this pawn here? What's the idea? All right, so if you said, well, it's a free pawn, that's why you took it. No, I don't really care about the pawn. Right? I'm trying to checkmate the king. This pawn over here is like, whatever. The reason I took the pawn is because this knight is the best defensive piece for white right now, stopping this checkmate idea. So I really want to get rid of this knight. So that's why I took the pawn, because now I can go bishop c5 and get rid of the knight. I couldn't go to c5 because the pawn is controlling that square. That's it. So that's the idea. I took it. He played bishop c4. And what do you think I played here? Well, bishop c5 would have been a great move. Actually, that's the top engine recommendation, just continuing with the plan, ignoring this. But I was like, why am I going to give them any kind of counterplay? I don't need to do that. I'll play knight to d6, block that off, puts pressure on the bishop, and I'm going here next move, right? I didn't feel like I needed to rush. This setup here is very hard for white to deal with. They can't really do much. So I didn't think my attack was going anywhere. They played queen b3, and then I continued with bishop c5. Apparently, there's a forced checkmate with rook takes g3, mate in 9, which I did not see. But this is also the second engine move, and it's very good because it puts a lot of pressure on white's position. They play knight back to d1. Pause the video. What is the best sequence of moves for black? All right, if you had a chance to look at that. So there's a very nice checkmate here, and it's making use of the fact that this bishop is lining up on the king. So here's how it works. Rook takes g3 check. Brilliant move. They have to capture. We take. They have to move the king, only move. And now what do? Mate in 2. All right, so this is almost checkmate, but the knight is still defending. And if we take the knight, it gets replaced by another knight. So what you need to do is queen to h3 check, attacks the king, forces the king back on g1 because guess what? Now it is in line with the bishop again. It is pinned, which means guess what? The knight is not actually defending the square. So queen g2 is just checkmate. You have to be careful. Make sure you're not making a mistake, because otherwise you lose your queen, right? But it's a pin, and that's the game over. So my opponent was kind enough to let me play it out. He didn't resign. Let me, get the checkmate. So good round one. Good round one. Now the question is, can I keep this up going into the rest of the tournament? We will see. But I feel pretty happy with this game. Let me show you the game review here. I'm going to pop it up and game review. Hold on, I'll turn it on for a second. All right, there you go. So yeah, 91 accuracy in a King's Indian, relatively complicated game. Sometimes those can be quite complicated. I was very happy with this. We had the brilliant move at the end. I was very happy. Good first game. We will see if I can keep it up or what's going to happen going forward. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something, and I will see you in round 2.